Hello there, it's Saturday, November 4th. I guess it's about 4 o'clock in the evening. And just gonna put out a little update here on the engine. Quote, overhaul, rebuild, close quote. So, we're making a course correction. In all likelihood, this head is cracked. I'll try to edit in a video or picture or two of what looks like cracks down in these ports. I know for a fact the head is warped. I know for a fact it's been overheated. I know for a fact the crank is bent or at least warped. The block measures perfectly good to manufacturer specs, and the cam is now good. But I don't know for a fact that the block is not cracked. And I don't know for a fact that this guy that said he can straighten the crank for me can actually straighten the crank. So we got a lot of uncertainty here. I did find that it's a like 6 to 8 month lead time to buy a head from Detroit. And I've searched around a little bit anyway to try to find a head. And the other guys just haven't even called me back. So I went and bought an engine. This is a 2005 MBE 906 LA, exactly like mine. 210 horsepower, just like mine. And the cooling system was all in great shape. And you can see in there not a bit of rust on the inside of that. So I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that the cooling system hasn't failed on this thing ever, and it hasn't been overheated anyway. I had an oil sample pulled, or I took the oil sample myself and I sent it out to the lab, and there was no unusual metals, there was no water, coolant, or anything like that in it. So it indicates that this is probably a good engine. I did crank it up and run it. It ran perfectly fine. Had no significant amount of blow-by pulling the cap off the top. What else? I power braked it. The vehicle wasn't drivable, so I put it in gear and put a load on it, and it ran fine, came up to temperature. So I bought it. And I just got home about 15, 20 minutes ago. And what we're going to do, I on the way here, I stopped at a friend's house and I pressure washed it. It's a pretty rusty engine. I think this thing came up from New York or Virginia or something, wherever they salt the roads. That was the good side we were looking at. This is the rusty side here. This turbo and the exhaust manifold and the bolts for the exhaust manifold are really rusty, and I am talking myself into removing this exhaust manifold and turbo and the EGR cooler and getting all that from my engine, which is in way better condition than this. I'm probably opening up a Pandora's box on these bolts, because, look at them. To me, it looks like I'm gonna have to cut these off with a torch and then hopefully be able to grab the piece of stud that's there. I think if actually cutting it with a torch, the heat might help, because I certainly don't want to have to drill all of those things out. So that's gonna start tomorrow. This has got a block heater, which mine doesn't have. And this is all real rusty here. So I want to get rid of this and just put a plug in that hole. Actually, I want to go look at my block. Right now, I'll do it actually. Oh, okay. So that might be real easy. I was kind of stressing over that. That large freeze plug right there is where that heater is. That's the block drain valve hole right there. So it's a freeze plug. And there's the two bolts, one there and one there, that hold the device in there. So it must have an O-ring. So I just got to get a freeze plug and pop it in that hole. Okay, that's another one of those things that I say to myself, oh crap, what am I in for with that? And then it turns out to be easy. So I eyeballed the flywheel. Everything looks the same. Yeah, that's it. That's the update. We're going to start probably tomorrow taking off, this cover has got to come off. This fuel filter is different on my engine. Mine is remote mounted because we have air conditioning and we got brackets and stuff that have to go here. But the very first thing I'm going to do is I have to lift this thing up off the trailer. I've got to drain the oil. It's still full of oil. I'm going to remove the oil pan and clean it because the guys felt compelled to remove the air compressor and this got dirty up in there. So I'm not even going to think about not cleaning the oil pan out. So that's going to be the first order of operation, is to finish cleaning this, take off some of these brackets and things. Water pump's got to come off, and that darn exhaust manifold. So we'll see how that goes.